Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Michelle Moreus and I make art tutorials that are fun, easy, and accessible for everyone. Today we're going to be using the Carbothello pastel pencils. We're going to use hard pastels and soft pastels. I've already drawn my image on a piece of tracing paper, which I've then covered the back of with some white pastel chalk. And then you turn it around, you put it on your paper, and you trace over the outline with a pencil, and it leaves the white chalk outline on your board. I'm using Clairefontaine Pastelmat paper today. I like to use a color other than white so that I can see where I'm putting the pastel, and I don't like the white of the paper showing through. But we are going to cover the whole area with pastel today. So we're focusing on the eyeball right now. So I'm going in with my dark green tones, and I want to point out that I am preserving my really white areas. So I don't want to go over those white areas like that highlight with any darker colors. I don't want to muddy them up. I want a really clear highlight. So I'm leaving that really white, and I'm going to go around that. So I'm going to put in my base layers, and I'm just right now focusing on where the lights are, where the darks are, where the different colors are, and I'm trying to get a good base layer down on the eyeball. Now when you're putting the colors down, you want to make sure that you're moving from the center of the black part of the eye and moving out. You don't want to just put in marks randomly. You want to make sure from the center out. So now I've just mapped in the skin so it's easier to see the eyeball itself. And we're going in, putting in my skin tones and darkening up my shadow areas. This is kind of a really heavily shadowed photograph, which I will give you the reference material, the reference image in the link below, so you can follow along and draw with me using the same image. It's always helpful. So I'm going in right now, I'm putting in all my heavy shadows, and I'm going to go in and add some more brown tones where the lid goes over the eyeball. So in the beginning stages of a pastel drawing, you don't necessarily have to worry about any of the details. You just really want to get a whole bunch of color down and blend it in so that you have a nice base to work with. I'm going in and I'm adding the eyelashes into that heavily highlighted area because they will reflect into that area of the eye. So I'm just going ahead and drawing in, and I'll darken these later, but I'm just putting them in brown, and I'll make them a little darker later. So follow along with your reference image and just take it little section by little section. Now in your eye, there's all kinds of little threads and dark, almost like these little V kind of areas. It's made up of like little fibers, so I'm trying to get those in now. Now that I've got a good base layer down, we can start to go in with some of the detail. So that's going to be some of those little stringy areas and little fibrous parts of the eye. And again, as I'm doing this, I'm paying attention where the center of that black part of the eye is, so that the lines make sense. If you're just haphazardly going off on an angle, it's not going to look realistic, it's going to look funny. So I'm paying attention to that. And I find it helpful to have an iPad in front of me with my reference image, that I can blow up certain areas if I get stuck, and I can kind of like hone in on that one little area and follow along. So now I'm darkening up the top of the eyeball because that's going to be shadowed where the eyelid comes over it. So that's going to be a lot darker than the bottom of the eye. So we're just going to go in, and we're just going to keep adding layers, and in between each layer I'm going to do a little blending and then add some more highlight colors into that eyeball. So now at this stage in the game, we're just going to keep continuing on, putting in more and more details, blending in between. I use my finger. Sometimes I use a blending stump. Pan Pastels have a soft tool, which is like a little spongy tool that you can put down that pastel down on the paper, and you don't feel like, you know, nails on a chalkboard. I don't mind using my finger. I think it's a really effective way to blend, but there are other tools, and I do use some cotton buds and like I said, blending stumps, whatever works for you. Small sponges, small little makeup sponges will work as well. It's just on the Clairefontaine Pastelmat, it's got a really heavy tooth to it, so it's almost like a light sandpaper. So if you try to use a tissue or something that's really soft, it's going to just shred or get stuck to the tooth of the paper. So I don't recommend that. But whatever, experiment with different things that you have, and whatever works for you and what feels comfortable, and you go with it. Certain things I can't live without, like my erasers and certain tools, but definitely you can be creative and use what you have and try different things out. So I'm going back in and I'm darkening my top shadow again, and I'm going along that nice highlight on the left side. So we really want to pop that white highlight there. So the darker that you put around it, the more that highlight is going to pop out. So I'm going in and I'm just paying attention to my reference image and going back and putting in all my little details. And we'll go back in and we'll darken up that pupil and make it a little blacker. And we are going to make our browns a little bit brighter as well. And then we still have eyelashes to put in, and that's going to be kind of toward the end. So I like to use a bunch of different greens. It's whatever you see. And like I said, there's little like cones and little diamond-like areas in the eyeball, and I like to put those in. It really creates a realistic effect in the eye. I really love using pastels because you can really feel a sense of accomplishment to get down all this color like so quickly, and it comes together very easily. I find it really nice to work with. I'm having a lot of fun experimenting with different things. I did the cat video and now the eyeball, so I'll give you some more tips and tricks on all of the things that I learned about pastels, and you know, some of the tools and the things that I use. And with these eyelashes here that I'm putting in now, just pay attention to, you know, how they are. They're not just straight coming out of your eye. They tend to be in clumps of 2 or 3. And on the bottom, I'm going to blur the ones out to the right side. On the top, I'm going to try to get enough in because it's kind of like a head-on view. So the eyelashes towards the left side, you're going to see like the curls and curves of, but as it gets more towards the center, it's like they're coming at you. So you don't want to make them just big, long spider leg looking things up on the top of the eye. So look at your reference image and you're going to try to kind of, you know, mimic what you see there. So they're coming like more towards you here. So they're going to be shorter and they get more blurry because the focus is actually on the eyeball, not on the eyelid. So now just kind of putting in my finishing touches. I'm going back and seeing what I need to, you know, put in, how many more darks I need to put in, and I need to blur some of these eyelashes that are here on this side. And it's really a cool effect with that kind of a blurred right hand side. And I go in with my finger and I just kind of blur everything out. Now I'm kind of darkening. As if you see on the reference image, that side is really dark, and it's almost deceiving how dark it is. And I'm just going back in and adding a little more detail. If you're enjoying my tutorials, please give me a thumbs up. leave a comment for me below and subscribe to my channel. It really helps with the YouTube algorithms, and it helps us get more plays so that we can continue to put out more videos. It also will let you know every time something new comes out. If you're subscribed, you'll get a suggestion when you go on YouTube that I've put out a new video. So it's really appreciated if you give me a subscription. It doesn't cost anything and we won't spam you. If you're looking for a longer tutorial, please check out my Patreon page. And I do whole tutorials, so there'll be the whole drawing with a voiceover or live on the Patreon channel, and I'll put a link below. So at this stage of the game, we're almost done. It's really starting to look nice and realistic, and I'm just going in and I'm kind of honing in on like the little nuances of where I need to darken things up or lighten things up. I'm adding a little highlight underneath that eyelid where it's a little bit lighter, and then blending in and just kind of really like fine-tuning everything, and this way we're really on the home stretch. So I really enjoyed doing this drawing today, and let me know what you want to see. If you have something specific you want to know about, or a technique or something that I did that you don't understand, I'd be happy to get back to you. Leave me a comment. And if you just have some crazy idea that you want to see me do a tutorial on, I'm down with it. So leave me a comment below and I'd love to hear from you. And we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me. I enjoyed, you can put this phase in or not, the little eye, bloodshot parts of the eye. I'm just kind of hinting to them. I'm not really doing a huge thing. But I enjoyed drawing with you today, and I hope you did too. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe, and we'll see you on the next tutorial. Thanks so much.